Welcome to In the Know Women Show, where women tell their stories and inspire us all. Our guests today are the women of the band Bevy. Welcome, Bevy.
Thank you for having us.
Danielle and Nancy and Betsy and Lori, and we're missing Becky at the moment, but she's going to be here. So who wants to tell me about where the name came from and the beginning of the band in 2001?
And we went on a retreat at the ocean, and I brought along with me a giant dictionary that actually had belonged to Alfred Hitchcock's daughter.
Whoa.
Very important. And throughout the weekend, we kind of would flip through it, and we'd take turns just opening randomly and pointing. And I think at the end of our weekend stay, somebody pointed to Bevy, and we went, okay, that sounds good. 2 syllables, 4 letters, bevy of babes, a flock of quail. So we went with it.
A company of women.
A company of women. Thank you.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And did you intentionally set out to do an all-women band?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it really started as a kind of just a practice space, a place to get together. It wasn't, I don't think, in the beginning, like, let's get a lot of gigs. It was a place to explore music together in the comfort of friends and women, I feel like. You know, and it was right next door to Nancy's house, so Nancy would be like, you know, running back and forth and, you know, making dinner and then coming over and
Playing with her other bands next door.
yeah.
Right. And Nancy, you had your influence of Bert Wilson, the
Yes.
world-renowned saxophonist.
Yes.
And how did that bring you into the fold of being a musician?
I was already a musician before I met Bert. I did the whole 5th grade band thing, the entire grade school, recorder classes, percussion, bells. Betsy knows that well. She's an elementary music teacher. So I just loved music, and before school I would, you know, if a recording was being played, I would dance to it. But then my mother took me to dance classes, and I didn't know my left from my right, and I embarrassed her. So, you know, that was probably the end of my dance career.
So flute first and then the saxophones?
Yes, and I still play them all. I actually did take piano lessons at 7, so.
Okay. Well, that's a good beginning.
It's always a good beginning.
I took piano lessons too, but a
Yeah.
little bit later.
Yeah.
So, do you have day jobs besides doing the band?
We all have too many day jobs. I'm oh my gosh. I've been a political consultant for 2023, so 22 years now. I'm trying to get out of politics, but it just keeps sucking me in. So I get candidates elected to office. I'm also a nonprofit consultant, so I'm the development director for Sidewalk, doing homeless services. I'm the executive director for the Thurston Mason County Medical Society. I just picked up a gig running the foundation for the Washington State Leadership Board. I'm doing 2 campaigns, and I'm also a consultant for the Park Foundation, which is Parks, Arts, Recreation, and Culture Foundation. So.
I did see your LinkedIn page.
My LinkedIn page.
I was trying to figure out how you found time for all of that and music, because you're in more than one band and orchestra, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not in orchestras anymore. I subbed with the Olympia Symphony last November. Oh wait, it was November 2021 actually. And Jennifer Herman, the executive director of the Olympia Symphony, says, "Do you want to play again?" I'm like, "Yes, put me on the call list." I don't do a lot of symphony work anymore, just when I can. But yeah, I'm in 5 projects, 3 with Betsy. So yeah, we play in an 8-piece funk band called Luna Melt. So think Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin. We do a lot of originals too. And then Bevy, of course, and a band called Vendretti's Bag, which started out as a gypsy swing band, which gypsy swing is a genre of music. And they started out playing the 4th Fridays at La Gitana, downtown Olympia. And then it kind of morphed into our book. So Bevy's book is this big.
At least.
That's your book of music.
The Book of Music. Vendretti's is about this big, and we double as a Jerry Garcia birthday band. So we play Jerry Garcia's birthday, August 1st, every year at West Central Park. And sometimes we do the set at the Boston Harbor Marina, which will be there on June 16th, I think. But yeah, and we do whatever the occasion calls for. But we are a swinging jazz band as well, and we're anywhere between 5 and 7 pieces if we add another horn player, because I'm the only horn player. Or sometimes, most of the time we have Betsy. Sometimes we don't, which makes me sad. But then I'm in a little duo called Fish Whistle. It's a bluegrass type duo with my partner.
I was wondering about, because bluegrass is strings.
It is strings, so he's a banjo player, and sometimes we add strings, but a phrase for my playing my flugelhorn, which I have my trumpet here on stage with me, but I have a flugelhorn, and if you check out my LinkedIn page, you'll see the picture there. And I started playing flugelgrass. I started playing bluegrass with the Pine Hearts back in, I think, 2015, and now they're just a 3-piece group. But yeah, I started playing bluegrass with the Pine Hearts, and so it's coined flugelgrass. So I play my flugelhorn in my bluegrass band.
All right.
So
well, I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, it's fun. And then I play in a group called the Platonics out of Tacoma.
Well, just like I said, I don't know how you find time for all of that. And Lori, you play the stand-up bass. Maybe is that the right phrase for it?
That's one name, yeah. Upright bass, string bass, bass violin. Has a lot of names, yeah.
And I understand that you bought your first bass.
This very one.
This is Bertha.
That's Bertha, yeah.
Tell me about Bertha.
I had played in first 2 notes in the 8th grade, fell in love with bass, and then played in junior high, and my teacher ended up being the bass player. His name was Noel Waters, and he played with Doc Severinsen through the summer bass. So he set me up with one of his in the school practice room, and took me off of marching drums and different things. And then I played through high school on school basses, and then I graduated. I didn't have an instrument, and I saw this way back in the back of an appliance store on Vashon Island, next to the Vashon Tavern one night, and went back the next day and worked all summer so that I could afford the $200 that the man was asking, and became my bass.
And
my
still
instrument.
is your
And
bass.
still, yeah.
And
yeah.
what is it made out of?
It's a plywood base, which makes it more stable for weather. It makes it a little heavier, but it's a good instrument. We go way back.
Okay. Betsy, you're a music teacher.
And
And what grades do you teach?
so I teach kindergarten through 5th grade, so 5-year-olds to 12-year-olds.
Does that influence the music in Bevy?
Good question. I know that we've played at my school, and we took different songs. I think we took Kiss of Fire and wrote different lyrics to it. I am probably, I'm pretty immature and childish, which is why I love teaching music. It's a really good job for me. I do a lot of dance with them and a lot of theater and music all kind of gathered together. And Bevy, definitely, I feel like we're pretty playful, and even some songs, I like to write songs, so sometimes songs will come, out of the workplace, or, out of play with Bevy. All those worlds are definitely intersecting together. But Bevy, we talk about, what we're going to wear, of course. We're playful in that way, or if we're going to have a theme. I think we had a moon theme back in the, in the moon landing. It was like the 50th anniversary. All right, let's just throw a bunch of moon songs in there. So.
Well, Becky Liebman, thank you for joining us.
It's wonderful to be here. My favorite people.
And are you an original Bevy Band member?
I am. I think the first time we got together was in my living room.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And you play keyboards?
I played keyboards, and when they let me, I played trombone too.
Aha. Is that a
Why
later?
you chuck? Oh, come on now, come on.
That's a later instrument that you picked up?
It is, and I want the TV world to know that, the cable world to know that I started playing when I was 54. I'd never been in school band before. I didn't think old people could pick up a horn. Since then, I have met so many people who have started late in life, but I just want that word to be out there. You can really do this.
Well, good. And that actually, one of the questions I was wondering about for all of you, because you have picked up different instruments and obviously some overlap. So, but I'm wondering what you would say to someone who is intimidated by learning a musical instrument. Do you have any suggestions for them?
I do, but I'm curious to hear what you guys say.
But you encourage people to play music all the time,
Well,
sticks
yeah.
and bone. People that have never picked up instruments or have little. Or maybe they played in the fifth grade band, and they haven't picked it up since.
Well, and Betsy is a teacher, and I mean, all of you have a good answer to this question. I want to hear your answers. But my answer is, I don't know about if this answers the word you use, intimidation, but maybe motivation, which is, a lot of us, we play our instruments thinking, oh, someday I'll be good enough that I can play with other people. But I say to flip that on its head and find the people you want to play with, and then you're going to practice. But what are your answers?
The first thing I thought was find someone you feel comfortable playing with, and because to me, music is very much about connecting with other humans. I don't enjoy, I'm going to be honest, I don't enjoy practicing alone. I know I need to, but I much prefer being with other people to make music, unless I'm composing or working, doing alone practice. But it's encouraging, it pushes me if I know that I'm going to be at a rehearsal or meet up with someone to play music. It pushes me to get ready for that. I have a lot of joy in it. As far as being a music teacher, I have a very untraditional approach in that way, because I didn't have I wasn't a musician when I was young. I learned through the Olympia School of Music, of just connecting with people and learning. And so that's the way I approach as a teacher too. It's like, okay, well, what can we do together? There's also so many tools other than humans. It's so different now because there's so many tools like online that I access as a teacher too. If you want support, there's ways to get support if you don't have a human in the room too, that we just never used to have.
I think our community is generally really supportive too. It's I find very little competition.
Yeah.
Everybody's there, even if it's the same instrument and people are after the same gigs or whatever. There's a lot more high fives and just a ton of support and encouragement between all the musicians in this town that I've come across, and that's a really empowering thing too. When your peers believe that you can do it, then you start to think, yeah, maybe I can do this. So. We're lucky to be here, and we're really lucky to have each other, and especially after as many years as we've been chipping away at it.
So I'm wondering how each of you selected your instruments, or maybe if they selected you.
Nice.
I started with singing, really. And flute is like singing. And as soon as I got a flute and started making a sound on it, it was like, wow, this is fun. So I guess I did fall in love with it right away.
And when did the saxophones come in?
That was after I met Bert, who was actually, a saxophone master. So somebody brought an alto saxophone to our house because they heard he was a saxophone master. And at this point, I was taking care of him because he was disabled. And it was a beautiful saxophone that no pawn shop was going to buy for $50. And it turned out to be a beautiful vintage gold-plated Con, which I sold for $1,000 later.
Good for you.
But that started me on saxophone, you know, because I had a saxophone master right at my hand there. And, you know, flute is lovely, but it's hard to play dynamics on it. I mean, it's easy to play soft, it's hard to play loud. Saxophone is almost the opposite of that. And it was actually nice to be able to be heard in some situations. Whereas a flutist, I would struggle,
Blend in.
get swallowed up.
Oh, ooh. All right. And Becky, you didn't first start, did you first with guitar?
So, oh yes, I played House of the Rising Sun many, many times in junior high.
I think you told me 1,237.
Yeah, or 8. Who's counting? I would say that's a cool question, and my quick answer is going to be because I think people watching this might relate. I had a few years as a kid on the piano. Didn't get very far, never went back to it, never thought I could do it. But when I was in my 40s, I learned some music theory, just a little bit. And when you learn theory, you learn a little bit about chords, and just enough to kind of get you in this playground with other people. So I would say it wasn't the instrument that chose me or I chose the instrument, but it was a way in. It was a way in to be able to play with other people, to be able to play chords behind people.
I have some connections with you. I played piano as a child too, and a little clarinet. And I actually remember, so I'm the percussionist with Bevy. I remember in band, I loved the clarinet actually, but I wanted to play the drums, but it wasn't, I asked about it, it was not fulfilled at that point. I did not play drums. But I danced, I was a tap dancer, and so all that was kind of foundational. And then when I moved to Olympia, I started just kind of same thing. The percussion was a way to be part of the music that I could easily, I could just get instruments pretty easily. People give away percussion, they were just available. I was in Samba Oliwa, and that's where I really started realizing, hey, I'm pretty good at this.
That's where we met.
That's where we met. We taught some youth groups and learned some things, lots of things. And so then Bevy, when we first came together, we've had many different people in this band. We had 3 percussionists. We were doing a lot of Latin jazz. And we had a 3 percussion section, and then eventually we didn't. And it was me. I was like, oh, I guess I should maybe make a drum set or something and try to, so I pieced together I think it was a hi-hat and a snare first, and slowly pieced that together. And so I've really enjoyed it. It's just been a piece by piece as far as percussion goes, of learning the set. I keep good time. I'm not like a rock band.
Keeps the best time of any drummer I've ever had.
Wow. And Lori, how did you find Bertha?
Oh, well, before we
get to
go
Bertha.
away from this rhythm section, I have to
yes.
say that these two, we are the rhythm section in Bevy, and Betsy's time is impeccable. It's great, and Becky is always right there, and we have a thing. I really do think that
It's been a common refrain. Listen for Betsy.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's there.
Absolutely. But let's see, backing up, first day of first grade, Catholic school. Do, mi, re, do, and I like to sing. And then second grade, my mom asked me if I wanted to play an instrument. All I could think of was Myron Florin. I wanted an accordion so bad. What kid doesn't want an accordion? I didn't know what it was called, so I said it goes like this. And I went to my first class, and Sister Reparata handed me a violin, which I had no concept of at all. My music exposure was really limited, pretty much to Catholic Church and country music. I mean, we're talking old school Western music, which was fine, but violin had not entered in. So anyway, that didn't last too long, and then I was a mediocre piano student in the 8th grade and got pulled from that lineup to play 2 notes on string bass in our little 8th grade orchestra, and I fell in love. It just vibrated me in a way that's what I wanted to do. So all other instruments took a far back seat to nowhere, and I'm a bass player.
All right. All right. And how do you decide on what types of music you're going to play as a band? I mean,
Good question.
Danielle mentioned the
I have
you
it
know,
with
your
me. I mean, it's huge. It's huge.
If you have any advice on this,
I can answer that though. I think we mostly play music that we like. We're not connected to any kind of genre. If we hear a song or one of us bring a piece, I don't think we've ever turned down a piece that any one of us have brought to the group, and past bandmates too. And of course we love the originals. Betsy's composition is really top notch, and we love that. Becky's written songs, Nancy's written songs. You and I haven't written anything yet.
I do not write songs. Maybe one day.
Yeah, we're not the writers, but and we do other local musicians material too, and really there's kind of no limit. We've done music
describe the types of music that you do. It's a
everywhere in the world. I mean, we've covered Cuban, Brazilian,
many American styles.
all
music.
North and South American styles, and vocals, the Great American Songbook.
jazz, like some orchestra pieces.
Yep.
When I listened to your concert on YouTube, I really liked the My Heart Belongs to Daddy. I really liked that version.
That song came to be because the amazing Betsy, and what I was going to say earlier is she was a featured artist for the Black Box Jazz series at the Washington Center. She composed a whole show. So she's a very, very great composer.
I work good under pressure.
She works good under pressure.
I had a date. Okay.
Yeah. So My Heart Belongs to Daddy is a combination of that song and a Perez Prado song called La Chula Linda. So we call it La Chula Daddy. Betsy says that it was one day she was in the shower. 'Cause my heart belongs to Daddy, ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da ba ba, and there we had it. So she's the arranger for that song.
It's good to hear it struck you, because we're always like, well, we love that song. I can't tell if the audience does. They see this kind of seem perplexed a little bit by me.
Well, it has a lot of history,
Yeah.
and I think it goes back to like 1938.
It's Cole Porter, and it's about gold digging females.
Yes, indeed it is. And actually, I think even farther back, they're, women of the night, even. But, and of course, Marilyn Monroe famously sang that, not in your style,
Yeah.
in her style. But yeah, so I definitely had heard other versions and then really appreciated that. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we like to incorporate vocals too, because we all love to sing. So often, although all of our music is not instrumental, but places where we can have harmonies, because we have two amazing horn players, and at some points we've had three, and well, we have four, we have three, but we have had four, right? So we often think, okay, what interesting horn arrangements can we do with this? And I want to echo too that we just have so many composers in this town, musicians that have given a lot to us or that we play with, and we love doing songs by composers of this area because the talent is here, and why not share it? So that's really enjoyable.
And actually, Olympia has a history of that.
Yes.
I'm listening to Carrie Brownstein's book, audio book.
Yeah.
About that period in Olympia.
Yeah.
And what do you think keeps you together as women in the band Bevy?
It's family.
Yeah, I think definitely, like I was saying, that connection in music is really important. All my friends are musicians, and I play music with them, and that's what our time is. I mean, these are my best friends. I mean, these are my people, they're my family. We eat together, we play music together, we disagree about our music together, we play, we go on trips. It's just, is for sure. If I need something outside of music, I would come to Bevy bandmates for support.
I'm sorry, but we need to wrap this up. But we're going to get to hear you do a song, and we're going to take a brief break to get everything set up.
Excellent.
Okay. 2, 3. Oh, there's my stuff. If you get worried, what you ought to do is sing. If you get worried, if you get worried, what you ought to do is sing. Sing about your trouble and it just might pass. Sing about your trouble and it just might pass. If you get lost, what you ought to do is sing. If you get lost, if you get lost, what you ought to do is sing. Sing about your trouble and it just might pass. Sing about your trouble and it just might pass. Sing about joy. Sing about love and hoping it lasts. Sing about your trouble. Sing about your trouble and it just might pass. If you get broken, what you ought to do is sing. If you get broken, if you get broken, what you ought to do is sing. Sing about your trouble and it just might pass. Sing about your trouble and it just might pass. Sing about joy. Sing about love and hoping it lasts. Sing about your trouble. Sing about your trouble and it just might pass. Sing about your trouble and it just might pass.
True story.
You want to go with that?